You ever feel like you're just drowning in information,
Mm.
trying to uh, cut through all the noise and get to what really matters on a topic?
Yeah, without spending like days reading everything under the sun.
Exactly. That's what we try to do here on the deep dive. We take a whole heap of information and, well, pull out the good stuff for you.
Think of it as your personalized briefing, your fast track to getting smart on something interesting.
And today we are diving deep into the science of persuasion. What actually makes people tick? What makes them say yes?
Mm-hmm. And our main source for this journey is the book Yes, 50 Scientifically Proven Ways to Be Persuasive.
Right. This is by Noah J. Goldstein. He's faculty at the University of Chicago's Business School, Steve J. Martin, who runs Influence at Work over in the UK, and the big one, Robert Cialdini.
Ah, Cialdini, the author of Influence, of course, president of Influence at Work in the U.S., professor emeritus at Arizona State. I mean, these guys really know their stuff when it comes to persuasion science.
Seriously. So the book lays out 50, count 'em, 50 specific techniques, all backed by actual scientific research.
And they're useful everywhere, right? Marketing, managing people, just, everyday conversations. It's about understanding those uh, hidden psychological triggers.
Okay, let's jump right in. The first one they mention is, well, it feels totally backwards. The idea that making things less convenient can actually make you more persuasive. How does that work?
Well, it taps into something pretty fundamental about us. When something seems a bit hard to get, or like it's in really high demand,
We want it more.
exactly, we automatically think it must be more valuable. That scarcity trigger is surprisingly potent.
They tell this great story about Colleen Sucka, an infomercial writer.
Nordic crack, right?
Yeah, Nordic Track. She just added 3 little words to the call to action instead of just operators are waiting. She wrote, operators are waiting. Please call back if lines are busy.
And sales went up.
Yeah.
Just that tiny suggestion that maybe, just maybe, you might not get through immediately.
It implies everyone else is calling, right? Creates that buzz. Social proof, kind of.
Precisely. It signals demand, urgency. You've probably felt it yourself, trying to get, like, concert tickets or a reservation at that hot new restaurant, if it's hard to get.
Suddenly you really need it. It feels more exclusive, more desirable.
You got it. That little bit of perceived difficulty ramps up the value.
Okay, so speaking of what other people are doing, the book gets into the whole bandwagon effect, but, like, with a specific angle. It's not just any crowd.
Right. It's not just about following the herd blindly. It's about following the herd that looks, well, like you.
Similar people.
Exactly. We're way more influenced by the actions of people we see as being similar to us. Same background, same situation, same interest, whatever it is.
Makes sense. You figure, hey, if someone like me is doing that, maybe it's good for me too.
Totally. And the example they use is just perfect. It's the hotel towel thing, those signs.
Save the planet, reuse your towel.
Yeah. So the standard environmental message, it works okay. But what worked way better was telling guests that other guests who had stayed in this exact room reused their towels.
Whoa, that's specific.
That specific. It's not just other guests, it's people who are literally right where you are now. That connection makes the message hit harder.
So it's about hyper-relevance.
Absolutely. And they
Yeah.
apply this to testimonials, too. Don't just get any good review.
Get one from someone your target audience relates to. Like if you're selling to, say, small business owners, get a testimonial from another small business owner.
Perfect example.
Uh,
Tailoring that social proof makes it way more potent. You got to know your audience and show them people just like them succeeding or agreeing.
Okay, but there's a dark side to social proof, isn't there? The book warns about accidentally highlighting the wrong behavior. Negative social proof, they call it.
Yeah, this is a really common mistake, and it's kind of insidious. You try to discourage something bad, but you end up making it seem normal.
Like the old Keep America Beautiful ad, the crying Native Americans seeing all the litter.
Exactly. Great intention, obviously.
Yeah.
But seeing so much litter everywhere might have subtly told people, well, looks like everybody litters.
Oops. Totally backfired. And the petrified forest example is even starker.
Oh, yeah. The park trying to stop people from stealing petrified wood.
They put up a sign saying how much wood was stolen each year. Like 14 tons, a huge amount.
And what happened?
Theft went up. Compared to having no sign or a different sign.
Because the sign basically screamed, lots of people steal wood here. It normalized the bad behavior.
So instead of focusing on the crime, they should focus on the desired action.
Right. They tested another sign just as simple, please don't remove the wood. And that worked much better. Less theft.
So you need to frame the positive behavior as the norm, Like those Arizona PSAs they mentioned showing that most people actually were recycling.
That's the key. Emphasize that the majority are doing the right thing. That pulls people towards the desired behavior, not the undesirable one.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? How often do we say things like, "Ugh, so many people are late these days," when we're trying to encourage punctuality?
We do it all the time without realizing. It's a subtle but powerful trap. Okay, related to norms, let's talk about this magnetic middle. What's that about?
Right, this is about feedback. Comparing people to the average seems sensible, but it can backfire.
How so?
Well, the magnetic part is key. People get pulled towards that average. If you tell someone they're doing better than average on something good,
They might ease off, coast a little.
yeah, and maybe even regress towards that average. But here's the kicker.
There's more.
The California Energy Use Study. They told households how their energy use compared to their neighbors.
Okay.
The high energy users, they cut back a bit, good. But the low energy users, the ones already doing great,
Let me guess. They started using more energy.
bingo, they actually increased their usage, drifting up towards that average, like they felt they were too far below the norm.
Wow. So just telling people where they stand relative to the average isn't enough. It can actually demotivate the top performers.
So what's the fix? The book suggests something simple.
Don't leave us hanging.
Add a symbol of approval for those doing well. Like when they gave the energy feedback, they put a smiley face on the report for the households using less than average energy.
Ah, so it wasn't just you're below average, it was you're below average, and that's good.
Exactly. That little bit of positive reinforcement stopped them from increasing their usage. It validated their good behavior.
Makes total sense. You need to anchor the positive behavior, not just the average.
Yeah.
Like with workplace lateness, you don't just say who's late, you got to praise the punctual people too.
Reinforce the good, don't just point out the bad or the average. Okay, shifting gears. Choices. We think
Well,
more choice is always better. Yeah.
That's the standard assumption, yeah. Freedom options. Sounds great.
But the book throws some cold water on that. They mention La Casa Gelato in Vancouver, over 200 flavors.
Whoa, that's a lot of gelato.
And it works for them. But maybe it's an exception. Maybe the sheer novelty and the experience of trying all those flavors is the point there.
Right. Because other research suggests that too much choice can actually paralyze people.
Decision paralysis. You get overwhelmed, you can't choose, maybe you just walk away without buying anything.
Exactly. They mentioned Procter & Gamble actually reducing the number of Head and Shoulders variations.
And sales went up.
Sales went up, less confusion, easier decision. Sometimes curation is better than just overwhelming variety.
Makes you wonder if we sometimes offer too many options, thinking we're helping, but we're actually making it harder.
It's a definite balancing act. Now, what about bonuses? Getting something extra with a purchase. That's always good, right? A free gift.
You'd think so. But nope, another twist. Sometimes the book says that bonus can be a burden. It can actually devalue the main product.
How? Why would getting something free make the thing you paid for seem less valuable?
Well, the researcher Priya Rahubir suggests people might subconsciously think, why are they throwing in this free thing? Is the main product not good enough on its own? Is there a catch?
Ah, okay. Like the bonus is there to compensate for a flaw in the actual product. That's subtle.
So if you are offering a bonus, you need to make its value clear.
How do you do that?
Frame it right. Instead of just free security program included, say receive a $250 security program at no cost to you. Highlight the standalone value of the bonus.
Got it. So the bonus feels like a genuine extra benefit, not like a prop for a weak product. And this applies to non-monetary things too.
Yeah, like if a coworker helps you out, don't just say thanks. Acknowledge the value of their time, their effort. Make the bonus feel significant.
Right. Recognize the value given. Okay, let's talk decoys. This is a classic persuasion technique.
Oh yeah, the Williams Sonoma bread maker story. Love this one.
Tell us.
They had a bread maker, selling okay. Then they introduced a new one that was way bigger, way better, and crucially, way more expensive.
And what happened to the sales of the original, less expensive one?
They nearly doubled.
Wow. Just by putting a much pricier option next to it.
Exactly. Suddenly, the original one didn't seem so expensive anymore. It became the reasonable middle ground choice, the compromise.
It's the power of contrast. That super expensive decoy makes the target product look like a bargain.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't remove the decoy later, right?
Right, because it's doing a job, it's anchoring perceptions. Take it away, and the middle option might suddenly seem expensive again.
Clever stuff. Okay, let's pivot to emotions. Fear appeals. Trying to scare people into action? Did that work?
Sometimes, but with a huge caveat. Fear alone can backfire.
How so?
The book talks about a study using tetanus pamphlets. Some had high fear messages, really graphic descriptions of tetanus. Others were less scary.
And the scary ones worked better.
Only if they also included a clear, concrete plan of action, like exactly where to go on campus to get the shot, the times, etc.
Ah, so fear without a clear path to safety leads to...
Denial, paralysis. People just shut down if they feel scared but helpless. They tune out the message.
So the takeaway is, if you must use fear, if you're highlighting a real risk, you absolutely must provide clear, easy, actionable steps the audience can take to mitigate that risk.
Otherwise, you might just be scaring them into doing nothing. Right, moving on. Reciprocity, the give and take. The book connects it to chess.
Yeah, a really cool story about Bobby Fischer, the chess grandmaster. Iceland granted him citizenship years after his famous match there, even though the U.S. government wasn't happy about it.
And the theory is?
Reciprocity. Fischer's victory put Iceland on the map back in the 70s. Granting him citizenship decades later could be seen as repaying that favor, that boost he gave their nation.
Huh. Interesting angle. It highlights that deep-seated urge we have to return favors.
Definitely. And the classic study here is the Coke and raffle tickets won by Dennis Regan.
Remind me.
Researcher gives some participants an unsolicited can of Coke. Just here you go. Later, he asks everyone if they want to buy some raffle tickets from him.
And the ones who got the free Coke bought more tickets.
Significantly more. Even though they didn't ask for the Coke, the simple act of receiving created an obligation to give back.
So even small, unexpected gifts trigger this. The book suggests using this in customer service.
Yeah, like, be extra nice, give a genuine compliment before you have to make a difficult request or deliver bad news. That little deposit in the reciprocity bank can make the other person more receptive.
Persuasion, almost. Setting the stage. Okay, now for something tiny but apparently mighty. Sticky notes. The sticky note effect.
Is this one great? So simple. A researcher, Randy Garner, sent out surveys.
Right. Some blank, some with a blank sticky note, some with a handwritten request on a sticky note.
And the results?
Huge difference. The handwritten note group had something like a 69% response rate. The blank note, maybe 43%. No note, way down at 34%.
Just for adding a little handwritten post-it?
Yep. The theory is that the personal touch, the visible extra effort, kicks in that reciprocity norm. Someone took the time to write this for me, I should respond.
Fascinating. Those little personal touches matter. Okay, sticking with small gestures. Restaurant mints. Those bowls by the door.
Yeah, are they actually doing anything? The book questions it.
And researcher David Strumitz tested it. He had servers give candy with the bill.
Not just leave it in a bowl.
Right. And giving just 2 pieces of candy boosted the tips significantly compared to no candy.
Okay, that makes sense. A little thank you. But there's a twist, isn't there?
There is. The way it was given mattered even more. Servers who gave 1 candy turned to leave, then turned back and offered a second one. Like, oh, here's an extra one just for you.
Their tips went up even more.
Through the roof. A 23% increase compared to the baseline, because that felt personalized, unexpected, special.
So the lesson is, gifts work best for reciprocity when they feel significant, unexpected, and personalized. A generic mint bowl doesn't cut it.
Exactly. Now, what about incentives? Offering a reward for doing something, like hotels promising to donate to charity if you reuse towels. Surely that works better.
Logically, yes. But the research says, nope, not really.
Wait, offering a donation incentive was no more effective than just a standard environmental appeal.
Pretty much. The idea is offering that specific incentive turns it into an economic transaction. I do this, they give money. It sort of removes the social obligation, the feeling of just cooperating with the hotel that's hosting you.
Huh. So sometimes a simple request, based on shared values or just being a decent guest, works better than trying to bribe people with an incentive.
Yeah. It suggests fostering cooperation through trust and mutual respect might be more powerful than just dangling carrots. Okay, this next one's cool. How the value of a favor changes over time. Is a favor like bread going stale or wine getting better?
Huh. Great analogy. Researcher Francis Flynn looked into this. His finding: right after a favor is done, the recipient values it more. They feel the immediate benefit.
Makes sense. But the giver?
The giver might not value it highly right away, but over time, the giver's valuation of the favor they performed tends to increase, while the recipient's might decrease.
So the timing of asking for payback is crucial.
It seems so. If you did the favor, maybe wait a bit when you feel its value is higher. If you receive the favor, Maybe asking for something in return sooner is better, while the giver still feels the glow of their recent generosity. It adds a whole layer of timing strategy to reciprocity. Okay, let's talk Jedi mind tricks. The book calls labeling a path to becoming a Jedi Master of Persuasion.
Haha, yeah. It's about assigning a positive trait or label to someone, then making a request consistent with that label.
Like Luke telling Vader, I know there's still good in you.
Exactly. You label someone positively, and they feel an urge to live up to it. Teachers telling kids, you have such neat handwriting, might make them try harder to be neat.
Or an airline saying, we know you value choice, thanks for choosing us, reinforces the idea that the passenger is a discerning customer who made a smart choice.
But the label has to be believable, right? You can't just label a messy person incredibly organized and expect results.
Right. It has to resonate with them. Maybe tap into an aspiration or a quality they genuinely possess, even if it's just a little. Okay, another simple one. Just asking a question.
This one blew my mind. Simply asking people about their future intentions can dramatically increase the odds they'll follow through.
Yeah.
The U.S. election example.
Yeah.
Voter turnout. Researcher Anthony Greenwald found that just asking potential voters, do you intend to vote on election day, increased actual turnout by something crazy, like 25 percentage points.
25 points, just from asking the question.
Yeah. Two things seem to happen. Making the prediction creates a mini commitment, and people want to be consistent, especially with socially desirable stuff like voting.
Wow. And the restaurant no-show example.
Same idea. Asking customers, will you please call us if you need to cancel, instead of just saying, please call if you need to cancel. That simple question, making them verbally commit, even implicitly, reduce no-shows.
Getting that micro-commitment. Okay, and if you really want commitment to stick,
Write it down. Make it active.
like Amway telling salespeople, set a goal and write it down.
Exactly. There's power in the physical act. A study on student volunteers for AIDS education.
Yeah.
Students who actively filled out a form saying, yes, I want to volunteer, were way more likely to actually show up than students who were told, basically, do nothing if you don't want to volunteer, otherwise we'll assume you will.
Yeah.
Passive versus active.
Writing it down makes it real, tangible. You see it, you feel more bound by it. You judge yourself against that written commitment.
So, New Year's resolutions, sales targets, meeting action items, get people to write them down themselves.
Solid advice. Now, what if you're up against someone else's strong commitment? Someone acting consistently with their past beliefs or actions, and you want them to change. How do you fight consistency with consistency?
You don't fight it head on. Don't tell them they were wrong before. That just makes people defensive.
So what do?
You frame the new behavior you want as being consistent with their existing values, beliefs, or past actions. Show them how this new thing actually aligns with who they already are or what they already believe.
So it's not, you were wrong, do this now. It's, this new way is actually a better way to achieve the goals you've always had. Or this fits perfectly with your value of X.
Exactly. Make the change feel like a natural evolution, not a rejection of their past self. Much smoother path.
Very smart. Okay, let's dip into history again. Ben Franklin. He had a trick for winning over opponents, right?
He did, a really clever one. He identified a legislator who really didn't like him.
Yeah.
Franklin asked to borrow a specific, rare book from this guy's personal library. A small favor.
Just asked for a favor from someone who disliked him.
Yep, the guy lent him the book. And afterward, Franklin reported the legislator was much friendlier, even sought him out. Why? Because doing Franklin that favor made him subconsciously reassess his own negative feelings.
It's hard to keep disliking someone you just did a favor for. Your actions influence your attitudes. I did something nice for him. Maybe he's not so bad after all.
Precisely. Our actions shape our beliefs. Sometimes asking for a small favor is the best way to start building a bridge.
Brilliant. Okay, staying with asking.
Yeah.
Asking for a little contribution. The book suggests this can be really effective.
Yeah, the long way of asking for a little. Instead of asking for a big donation people might refuse, ask for something tiny. Even a penny will help.
Why does that work?
Because it lowers the barrier completely. Almost anyone can give a tiny amount. And once they do, they've psychologically bought in. They see themselves as someone who supports the cause. It legitimizes the act of contributing, even small amounts.
And might make them more likely to give more later?
Potentially, it gets them involved, makes them feel part of it. That initial small step is key.
Every little helps isn't just a slogan, it's a strategy. Got it. Options now. Start low or start high.
Intuition says start high to anchor the price.
Right. But the research suggests start low.
Really?
3 main reasons. 1, Lower barrier to entry means more people start bidding. 2, more bidders create social proof. Wow, lots of people want this. 3, early bidders get invested. They've put time and bids in, they get caught up in the competition, and they're more likely to keep bidding higher to win.
So a low starting bid can actually generate more excitement and lead to a higher final price. Counterintuitive, but makes sense when you break it down.
Definitely. Okay, demonstrating expertise. How do you show you know your stuff without sounding like a braggy know-it-all?
Tricky balance. The book suggests two main ways.
Lay 'em on us.
1, have someone else introduce you and talk up your credentials. A third-party endorsement feels more objective. Call them a true believer.
Let someone else toot your horn.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the other way?
Subtle environmental cues. Display your diplomas, certifications, awards visibly but discreetly, like doctors often do.
Let the evidence speak for itself. They mention physicians' assistants getting better patient compliance after putting their credentials up.
Yeah. It silently established their authority and expertise without them having to say a word about it. Builds trust implicitly.
Smart. Okay, now a provocative one. The hidden danger of being the brightest person in the room. Isn't being the smartest always an advantage?
Not always, especially when it comes to complex problem solving or decision making.
Wow.
The book uses the DNA discovery story. Watson and Crick collaborated intensely. Rosalind Franklin, arguably the most brilliant individual scientist working on it, was apparently less inclined to seek advice or collaborate as closely.
And research backs this up, that groups can outperform the best individual.
Yeah, Patrick Laughlin's work shows cooperative groups often find better solutions than even their smartest member working alone. Collaboration brings diverse knowledge, parallel processing, checks and balances.
Synergy. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So even if you are the smartest, involving others leads to better, more persuasive outcomes.
Often, yes. Don't let ego get in the way of a better solution. Okay, training people. Is focusing only on the right way always the best way?
Good question. What does the science say?
Wendy Young's research suggests that training programs that explicitly cover common errors can be more effective than those that only show the correct procedure.
Learning from mistakes? Even hypothetical ones?
Exactly. Discussing common pitfalls makes the training more engaging, memorable, and gives people practical strategies for what to avoid, like using anonymous war stories in corporate training.
Or talking through common parenting mistakes, maybe, so people recognize and avoid them.
Interesting. Focus on the don'ts as well as the dos.
Right. Okay. Turning weakness into strength. How can admitting a flaw actually help you persuade?
Seems counterintuitive again.
Think of those classic ad campaigns. Progressive Insurance admitting their rates might be higher sometimes. Volkswagen calling the Beetle ugly, but cheap.
Okay, yeah. Why does that work?
Honesty builds trust. When you admit a minor weakness, people find you more credible. They're more likely to believe you when you then highlight your strengths. It shows you're not trying to hide anything. Like the lawyers who admitted weaknesses in their case and were seen more favorably by jurors.
Exactly. Transparency can be very persuasive and closely related. Admitting when you were wrong.
Taking responsibility. Always tough.
But crucial for influence. Research compared companies that blamed external factors for bad results versus those that owned up to internal mistakes.
And the ones who took responsibility were viewed better.
Much better. It projects competence, control, and honesty even when admitting failure. But you can't just say, oops.
You need a plan.
Right. Admit the mistake, explain what happened, and clearly outline the steps you're taking to fix it and prevent it from happening again. That's key.
Responsibility plus a solution. Got it. Similarities. Again, how much difference can small similarities make?
A surprising amount. The book mentions people in Quincy, Massachusetts feeling a bond with Quincy, Illinois just because of the name, leading to more generosity.
Just the name. Wow.
And Randy Garner's survey study again. People were almost twice as likely to fill out a survey if the sender had a name that sounded similar to their own, like Garner sending to a gardener.
That's incredible. We're really drawn to people like us, even in superficial ways, which leads perfectly into implicit egotism, our unconscious bias towards things resembling ourselves, especially our names.
Yeah, this stuff is wild. Pelham's research finding that people are statistically more likely to live in places or choose careers that resemble their own names.
Like more dentists named Dennis, more people named Louis living in St. Louis.
Exactly. Or people whose birthday numbers match numbers in their town name. It's unconscious, this draw to things that echo me.
Mind blown. Not sure how practical that is for persuasion, but fascinating. Maybe suggest Harry Potter books to a kid named Harry.
Maybe. Okay, more practically. Mirroring. Subtly copying someone's behavior.
Ah, yes, the chameleon effect. How does this help persuasion?
Builds rapport unconsciously. Waiters who repeat orders verbatim get bigger tips, while feels like they're really listening confirms understanding. And in negotiations, people instructed to subtly mirror their partner's posture and gestures.
They reach deals more often.
Yep, and reported more trust. But it has to be subtle. Obvious mimicry is creepy and backfires badly.
Right, gentle, natural mirroring, not cartoonish imitation. Okay, smiles. We know smiles are good, but what kind?
Authentic ones.
Hmm.
Duh, right. But the research confirms it. Genuine Duchenne smiles, the ones that reach the eyes, lead to higher customer satisfaction than fake pasted-on smiles.
So forcing service workers to smile might not be as effective as creating conditions where they genuinely feel positive.
Seems likely. And they bring back Ben Franklin's advice. Search others for their virtues. If you actively look for the good in people, you'll likely feel more genuine positivity towards them.
Which will lead to a more authentic, persuasive smile. Nice loop back. Okay, scarcity revisited. When is a loser a winner?
When it's about to disappear, scarcity makes things desirable.
Like the Oldsmobile effect. Sales soared after GM announced they were discontinuing the line.
Exactly. Suddenly, it was a limited edition, a collector's item in the making. People rushed to get one before they were gone forever.
The beef buyers study.
Amram Nishinsky told wholesale beef buyers about a likely shortage coming from an exclusive source. They massively increased their orders, limited supply plus exclusive info, major persuasion.
FOMO, fear of missing out, is powerful.
Mm.
And that ties into loss aversion, right? Gaining from loss.
Yeah, this is huge. The pain of losing something feels much stronger than the pleasure of gaining something equivalent.
The classic example being,
New Coke. People went ballistic. Blind taste tests might have slightly favored the new formula, but people felt they were losing the original Coke with all its history and nostalgia.
that feeling of loss was way more powerful than the potential gain of a slightly different taste. The backlash was incredible.
Totally. So framing things in terms of what people stand to lose if they don't act can be incredibly motivating, more motivating than just highlighting the potential gain.
Focus on avoiding the pain of loss. Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
a single magic word. Because
This one is almost comical in its simplicity and power. Ellen Langer's Xerox study.
the line-cutting experiment.
Right. Asking, can I cut in line? Worked okay. Asking, can I cut in line because I'm in a rush? Worked much better. But asking, can I cut in line because I need to make copies? A totally redundant reason. Worked almost as well as the good reason.
Just hearing the word because signals that a reason is coming, and our brains seem to just accept it, even if the reason is lame.
Pretty much. People like reasons. Give them one, any reason, and compliance shoots up. The book suggests asking clients why they do business with you.
To get them to articulate their own because, reinforcing their commitment.
Clever.
But don't ask for too many reasons. That can backfire too.
Why? Wouldn't more reasons be better?
Not if they're hard to come up with. It's the ease of retrieval thing again.
Ah, like the BMW study. Asking for 10 reasons made people like BMW less than asking for just one. Exactly. If you struggle to list 10 reasons, you subconsciously think, maybe there aren't that many good reasons after all. It feels difficult, so the product must not be that great.
So tailor the number of reasons you ask for. If it's easy to think of benefits, ask for more. If it's complex, maybe ask for just one or two strong, easy ones.
Makes sense. Okay, simplicity again. Name fluency. Easy to pronounce names are better.
Apparently so. Alter and Oppenheimer found people just like things with names that are easy to say. Words, company names.
Even stocks. Stocks with easy ticker symbols performed better.
That's what their study suggested. Easier processing seems to translate to feeling more positive, maybe more trustworthy, more valuable. Simplicity wins.
Wild. And speaking of easy processing, rhymes.
Rhymes are persuasive, like Dr. Seuss.
Huh, well, maybe. Think nursery rhymes, advertising jingles, that famous O.J. Simpson trial line. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
It sticks in your head, doesn't it? Makes it memorable.
And memorability aids persuasion. Rhyme increases fluency, makes things catchy, a subtle tool, but potentially effective.
Okay, perceptual contrast. What can baseball batting practice teach us?
The weighted donut on the bat, right? Swing that heavy thing, then swing the regular bat.
And the regular bat feels super light by comparison.
Exactly. So in persuasion, show someone a more extreme or less desirable option first. Then your actual proposal seems much more reasonable, more appealing by contrast.
Setting the anchor point. Makes sense. Loyalty programs next. How do you get people engaged?
Give them a head start, or at least the illusion of one.
The car wash study.
Yep. Card A needed 8 stamps for a free wash. Card B needed 10 stamps, but came with 2 stamps already filled in. Both need 8 purchases.
But the 10-stamp card with the 2 free stamps felt like progress was already being made.
Exactly. And that group completed their cards much faster and more often. That feeling of being underway, having momentum, is highly motivating.
Create the perception of progress. Smart. Okay, crayons. What do crayons teach us?
About naming. Crayola shifted from simple names, blue, to evocative ones, tropical rainforest, laser lemon.
And that makes a difference.
Research suggests yes. Descriptive, unique names increase perceived uniqueness and can influence preference. Makes the product seem more special, more interesting.
Names matter. Okay, making messages last. Packaging for longevity.
This is about branding consistency. The Energizer Bunny versus the Duracell Bunny.
Duracell had the bunny first,
Right.
right? But didn't stick with it consistently.
Right. Energizer swooped in, consistently used their pink bunny with the drum, and basically stole the long-lasting association in consumers' minds.
Ouch. Lesson. Consistent branding characters, slogans, visuals across all platforms, including in-store, is crucial for memory and impact. Don't let your message get confused.
For sure. Okay, a weird one. Mirrors. How are mirrors persuasive?
Reflecting on persuasion.
The Halloween candy study. Kids took less candy, just the one piece they were allowed, when there was a mirror behind the candy bowl.
Why? The mirror made them self-aware.
Exactly. Mirrors increase self-awareness, making us compare our behavior to our internal standards and social norms. We act more in line with our values when we're watching ourselves.
So maybe put mirrors in stockrooms to reduce theft. Or near unhealthy snacks. Subtle nudge toward a better behavior.
Could work. Finally, sadness. How does feeling sad affect negotiations?
You'd think sadness would make people passive.
But research by Jennifer Lerner suggests sadness activates a desire to change your circumstances.
So, sad buyers.
We're willing to pay more for something they wanted, maybe hoping the purchase would make them feel better.
And sad sellers.
We're willing to accept less for something they were selling, maybe just wanting to complete the transaction and move on. Wow, emotion really impacts economic decisions. And the book notes when emotional, people focus less on exact numbers and more on just getting the thing that might change their feeling.
Yeah, less sensitivity to magnitude, more focus on the emotional outcome. So understanding someone's emotional state in a negotiation is pretty critical.
Whew, okay, that was a lot. From inconvenience making things desirable to mirrors making us more honest. The science of persuasion is seriously complex and fascinating.
It really is. And so many of these are small things, aren't they?
Yeah.
Little tweaks based on psychology that can make a big difference.
Absolutely. It shows you don't need grand manipulative schemes. Understanding these principles helps you communicate more effectively, more ethically, too.
Definitely. It's about connecting with people, understanding what drives them, and framing your message in a way that resonates.
So thinking about all these subtle levers, scarcity, similarity, consistency, reciprocity, all of it, here's the final thought for everyone listening. What's one small science-backed change you could try in your next conversation, your next email, your next presentation to be just a bit more persuasive?
Good question to ponder. And if you want all 50 strategies laid out,
Yeah.
the book Yes by Goldstein, Martin, and Cialdini is definitely worth a read.
For sure. Thanks for diving deep into the science of persuasion with us today.